Yeah, that was an extraordinary time for women's basketball, having won the gold medal in 1996 in the Atlanta Olympics. That just catapulted into the formation of the WNBA, and it taking off, and so it was just an amazing time for women's basketball.
At that time, I remember, just coming off my first international tour for basketball, and remember marking down the days on the calendar to when I would have the opportunity to be home, because at that time there were no professional opportunities for women in the States. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of my career overseas, there was a lot of buzz about, professional leagues starting up in the United States. And so it was an exciting time. It gave a lot of those women that were overseas playing at the time a lot of momentum and energy and excitement about the opportunity to be able to play on our home soil.
As a player playing in Europe and experiencing what they felt about women's basketball there, it was very important to me and the rest of the players from the United States to be able to go home and have that uproar at home. We just felt like it was time. We felt like that we deserved an opportunity to show the United States what we can do instead of just going to Europe and doing it.
Wow, that was actually a great time, for women's basketball. A lot of people don't know that there were two professional leagues that started. One was the ABL, which I made a commitment to play, and I really enjoyed it. It was very, very competitive. And then 2 years after that, I decided to go in the WNBA, but it started 2 years before.
As a professional sports fan, I was excited. I thought the WNBA had an excellent chance of surviving right out of the gate. I was excited that a hometown team was going to be part of the original plan, and was excited and thought it would be a wonderful addition to the Charlotte sports scene. I remember the first game, the newspaper sent me out to cover their first game. They played at Phoenix. I remember being on the team bus. We stayed at the same hotel as the team. Riding on the team bus, they're sitting in the parking lot. We're getting ready to leave from the hotel to the arena, and all the players and staff get on the bus, and they're just sitting there, and it's sort of like a moment to relax and exhale, and they realize after many years playing in Europe, after not having a chance to play pro basketball, we're here, this is it.
I was really excited about coming to Charlotte to play for the Charlotte Sting. It was a dream of mine to be able to play in the WNBA, and what better place to play than in my home state, in the state of North Carolina, where I grew up and became a great fan of basketball, because I grew up a David Thompson fan who played at NC State. I grew up a Michael Jordan fan. Like, I wanted to be like Mike, and so that was one of the reasons why I went to UNC, was to wear the number 23.
It meant the world to me. I was overseas at the time, waiting to hear, who wanted me and where I would be. And to find out it was right here in Charlotte, where I grew up, I played. It was just amazing to me. My family would be able to see me play. My mom wouldn't have to drive far. Definitely wouldn't have to get on a plane.
It was a city in which I never really spent a whole lot of time. But once I got to Charlotte, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being in the South, just, a lot different than being in Philadelphia, where the pace was a little bit slower. People were more hospitable in that, they wanted to talk and kind of give you their history. And I enjoyed that.
Oh man, I can't sit here even say enough about the fans. They were there every night, each and every night, supporting us when we were on the road. I interacted with them. Some of them became my best friends.
As soon as the doors opened, they came down, they stood around the court to watch us warm up. And we interacted with them as far as taking pictures, signing autographs. Some of them even rebounded for us. So it was cool kind of getting to know them.
We've always had a core group of very loyal fans. I think we still do. I mean, I still walk the streets of Charlotte and people still remember the Sting and that time.
Stinson looking for bullet down low, takes a three, good! Oh! 73-64. Andrea Stinson puts the crowning touch on the Sparks.
In 2001, they were 1-10 at the time, and they had some sort of special event for season ticket holders at the arena. And I remember Ann Donovan took the microphone and said to all these season ticket holders, "We are going to make the playoffs." This is a time when they're 1-10, which in any sport is a bit of a reach, you would think. Some of the players kind of looked around, winked at each other. It was a funny moment. Fans all cheered, of course, and I thought, that's pretty bold, Coach Donovan. She turned around and did it.
We started out the season 1-10. That's a third of your season, and that was a very dismal start. But the thing is that we were so optimistic about the turnaround, and that season has defined and shaped my life for the rest of my life. I share that story, when I'm talking to young kids about never giving up and believing in yourself. Because at that time, we started out 1-10, but every loss that we had, we kept saying to ourselves as a team, we have an opportunity to be. We weren't looking at where we were, but where we could be. And so every time we would look at the amount of games that we had left, and we say, this is an opportunity for our record to be whatever the numbers were. And so that was a great character shaping opportunity to let you know that, what looks dismal, what looks like hopeless, there can be a turnaround if you believe.
It always seems like the losing part of it, I remember vividly. So yes, I remember, being part of that dreadful first 11 games of the season and losing 10 of them. But it was dreadful on paper, and it was dreadful just, kind of going through it. But in the locker room, in practices, in film sessions, and to be around the late great Ann Donovan during those times, it was magic, because we're looking at our record, we're looking at the people that we're laced up with, and we didn't understand how we were losing so many basketball games, but we never lost faith in thinking that we could make a comeback.
And the one thing that stands out to me the most is the poise that our head coach Ann Donovan had under pressure. God rest her soul. She was a great coach, a great leader, and was very optimistic. And then that just goes to show the turnaround and the impact that you can have in someone's life when you continue to be positive.
I had people on my team, Dawn Staley, Charlotte Smith, who have won championships, who had been there in the big games and were used to winning. And, I was used to winning at NC State. And, you just had a lot of us, and we had just decided, made up our minds. We started out in Cleveland. We went to Cleveland, and they came to us, and then, of course, we had New York. And, New York came in here with a bang, saying, this is not going to happen. Your Cinderella season is about to end. Well, it's one of those things where we decided we're going to go to New York, and we're going to play. We have nothing to lose. We're going to play to the best of our ability, and we're going to go in there, and we're going to try to win both those games.
Well, just thinking back on that time, it still gives me chills. Winning 2 games at Madison Square Garden to put us into the finals was just an amazing moment. But I think that team, it just speaks to resiliency and persistence. And, we really just had a simple formula of, let's just take it one possession at a time. So we, as a group, decided we're going to get the best shot that we can every single time and play the best defense we can every single time. And we decided to do it our way because we weren't the youngest group, but we could grind it out, and it's exactly what happened.
And boy, when we started winning and going on winning streaks, and the crowd, and we used to have a ball. So when we were able to get to the finals, it was pretty much destiny. We didn't win, but we won in so many other ways that winning the championship was, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it was secondary to, what we were able to accomplish and overcome during that season.
Well, All-Star it's a big deal. I mean, it's an honor. It's something that you work hard for. And you just, you go out and you play every night and hope that someone sees you and someone recognizes what you're doing. To be an All-Star was the greatest feeling, especially when I was an All-Star with Dawn Staley and Tammy Sutton-Brown. When all three of us were there, and we enjoyed it. We had a great time the whole weekend. We had a great time in the game. Wish we could have won the game, but you know, hey, we competed, and it was a weekend that for myself, I will never forget.
Being a WNBA All-Star is always, you know, a great feat. It's always something that players strive to become. But when you represent a franchise like the Sting, who they made us feel special.
It was great to have all of our players there, as well as our coaching staff, and to be able to be a part of that. You know, quite honestly, the hardest part was making sure everybody got equal playing time.
To be able to kind of lock arms with, you know, my teammates and my coach meant that we were successful. And a lot of the reason why we were successful is because of that tight-knit family atmosphere. And to do it together on that stage was quite incredible and deserving, because we put in the hard work. We had so much fun just playing together, and the camaraderie was off the charts.
The relationship between the Hornets and the Sting was like a family. It was like a family, and we hung out together in the training rooms. We supported each other at the games, and so it was one big family for us.
They definitely supported us. The Hornets were here. I did 2-ball with Glenn Rice. And, you know, we talked and we had fun, and anytime we saw the guys, you know, they greet us, we greet them, and, you know, they challenge us, we challenge them. It was great. You know, the Hornet support was really there. The guys were really, they came to see us play, sat on the front row, you know, just supported us tremendously.
We were practicing at the same facility, we were playing in the same facility, so our paths crossed a lot. I was able to watch some of the Charlotte Hornets practices, just learn a few things, and you know, a lot of franchises will allow women in their space, in their workspace, but Charlotte's thing was a little bit different. It was a little bit, you know, relaxing in that it allowed you to continue to grow and kind of tickle your fancy of being a basketball enthusiast and wanting to learn what they do at that next level.
When the Hornets left to go to New Orleans, it was a sad time, because I grew up as a little girl, you know, watching the Hornets. My brother, Brian Smith, he was a ball boy for the Hornets. My uncle, David Thompson, was part of the Hornets organization, so it was a big void and a big loss for the city of Charlotte. And for us, it was a time of angst, because we did not know what would happen with the Charlotte Sting organization. And we lost our leader in Ann Donovan to the Seattle franchise, because there was just so many questions and so many things up in the air as to what would happen with our organization.
Well, I think we were kind of afraid of what was going to happen to the team. You know, you get that sense when the NBA team leaves. Well, oh my gosh, are they going to keep us? Are they going to send us there? Well, I guess we had proven to Charlotte that, you know, we are the Sting. We don't want to leave, and we want to stay here and be the Charlotte Sting until, you know, the support comes back of the men team, until they decide what they're going to do. And so it worked. You know, it worked out. We stayed. We continued to play. We continued to play hard. We continued to stay at the top. And you know, it was just, we had heart, and we wanted to really be here in Charlotte and be a part of whatever team, whatever organization or owner that came in.
I loved Andrea Stinson. She had a vibrant personality. She was there from day one. In essence, she was the hometown girl. Fans flocked to her. Little girls loved sitting in the stands watching her. And Stint was available for everybody. She was genuine. She wasn't just one personality on the court and another off. She would sit and talk to you, whether if you saw her in the street, after practice, after a game. Vibrant personality, a lot of fun.
I got the call about wanting to retire my jersey. And I thought, well, I don't think I played enough to have my jersey retired. But it was an honor. Trudy Lacey called me up and said, listen, we want to retire your jersey. And I said, well, I appreciate that. And you know, and she said, well, we just want to honor you because we think you've done above and beyond of what a Charlotte Sting player could ever do or have done. I said, well, you know, I appreciate that, but I did it because I love the game. And, you know, and having your jersey retired and people always calling you and saying, Miss Stinson, that's your jersey up there. Yes, it is. And that, you know, it's great. You know, I take it in. I'm humbled by it. I, you know, don't walk around with my jersey on my back saying, yeah, it's up there. But, you know, a lot of my kids now, I coach high school and teach in high school, so a lot of my kids come to games and they see it and they're like, Coach, we didn't know. I said, well, you know, I'm sorry. I don't just go around telling people, you know, that, you know, my jersey's in the arena, da-da-da-da. It's on my resume, but, you know, hey, I just don't go around and talk about it.
Dawn Staley, I thought, was extraordinarily smart, very smart player. She understood coaching, but she also understood personalities. She was fun to talk to from a historical perspective because she had played on Olympic teams by the time she got here. In fact, she coached here while she coached Temple in the off season while she was here. So I remember talking to her during the season and she would say, oh, excuse me, I need to call this recruit. So she'd run off and take a phone call. I need to talk to my assistant coach, and she'd run off. She was doing 2 jobs at once in essence.
Charlotte, you know, poured out so much love for me. And as I think back on it, you know, I was ingrained in that community for not just winning basketball games, but just my connection with the people. You know, I did have a Dawn Staley day in Charlotte, and there was a day in which I shared with the recreation centers all around the city, where we had a day in the park, and we provided food, fun, games for little kids. And that's what it's all about, to be able to reach back and, you know, touch lives in a way that, you know, hopefully it stays with them long enough to where, you know, they could pay it forward to the next generation.
When the Sting folded after the 2006 season, it was a time of disappointment and sadness, you know, because when you've poured your blood, sweat, and tears into building an organization, and to see it dissolve, it was a time of sadness. And, you know, I wasn't there at the time. I was playing for the Indiana Fever, but my heart was always with the Charlotte Sting organization because that's where I got my start in the WNBA.
I was disappointed. I was sad. I had mixed feelings about it. I know it's a business, but the Sting had been here every year, the WNBA, and to see them not be here that next season, I didn't have anything to do. I was retired and I wanted to come to games, but, you know, there was no Sting. So it was a disappointment, but I understand that it's a business. And I think that the ladies understood that, and they went on and moved to other teams and continued to play, and I was proud of that they were able to continue to play.
Really, it was just heartbreaking for everybody, and just you know, to have our team fold, and then we had to disperse all of our players. It was a very difficult time, but again, I think that the memories and the bond that we had as a group, that was such a special group. I think those memories really overshadow any negativity that came from our team folding.
When you think about professional sports, the nature of it is a business. But at the end of the day, the nature of the business can never break the nature of the bonds that you build within a team. And so my greatest memories are just being in the locker room with my teammates, and those times of just kidding around and having fun. You know, those relationships that you build are for a lifetime. And so I'm grateful to have been part of the Charlotte Sting organization.
You know, in the WNBA, the season is so short. Training camp is 2 to 3 weeks. The season's, 4 months. You're not together for a long time. But we had instant chemistry. We laughed about silly things. We competed in practice like it was a WNBA championship on the line.
What I remember most really is just our closeness as a unit, and that's really coming together as a group. We had a very unselfish mentality. We had that sort of blue collar kind of work ethic, and really honestly, you know, having just lost my dear friend Ann Donovan, we were friends for 41 years, and it was our dream, you know, to win a championship together. So as you can see, I get choked up just thinking about it. But you know, now just, you know, having the opportunity to think back on that and share that time with her is very, very special.
Ann Donovan was a special coach for me, and I think that just playing for her and her challenging me to raise my game to a new level, a different level with everybody else, and as I raised mine, they raised their game, and that's how we got to that 2001 championship. But the times, the seasons with her were really special. We all bonded, we all became a family. Not that we weren't one in the beginning, but just even more. And she made it a family atmosphere.
For me, it was that family atmosphere. It was the ability to join a team and it's a community together and, you know, make sweet music, because that's what we did. Although we never won a championship, we had champion people, we had champion fans, we had a champion organization that made us all feel like, you know, we were special.
We gave all we had to the organization. We didn't just play one year and then left, and we stayed around for as long as we could. You know, I stayed 8 years, Dawn stayed, 5 or 6 years. So, you know, it's just I think that the players that came through really impacted the Sting and really impact the organization.
You know, our team played with a lot of heart. I think we overcame obstacles. We stuck together when it was really tough. We believed in each other when nobody else believed in us. Again, I think you know, we had great leadership from Ann, you know, from Dawn. You know, we did all the things I think that a championship team does. Remembering that the love that we shared, it was just unbelievable and a very, very, very special time.
The legacy of the Charlotte Sting was a legacy of community and love. You know, we not only had great support for one another as teammates, but we had great support from our fans, which became part of our family. It was a family atmosphere and a family environment, and I'll forever cherish that.